In this deep dive, we're exploring a fan-imagined version of events, one that asks a simple but electrifying question. What if Amy Roloff and Caryn Chandler's long-standing tension had reached a breaking point? A point so intense that it sparked a secret, high-stakes legal showdown worth an unbelievable $6 million. Now again, this is not a real lawsuit. Nothing like this was ever filed in any public court record. But the idea of it, the emotional weight behind it, the history between these two women, that's what has fueled years of online speculation. And tonight, we're unpacking the theory from every angle. To understand why fans even entertain the possibility of something this explosive, we have to go back to the roots of the conflict. The end of Amy and Matt's marriage, the complicated transition period at Roloff Farms, and the rising tension as Caryn, Matt's longtime employee, became a major figure in his life. As these personal and professional worlds collided, fans noticed signs of strain, awkward interactions on screen, uncomfortable comments in confessionals, and conflicting visions for the future of the farm. And in the world of reality TV, where every glance and silence gets dissected, these moments became the spark that ignited one of the biggest what-if theories in LPBW fandom. Tonight, we'll walk through the imagined timeline of this so-called $6 million lawsuit. We'll break down the motives fans assigned to each side, the emotional pressure points that shaped their dynamic, and how this fictional court battle reflects the very real fractures that altered the Roloff family forever. So sit tight, because once we unravel the first thread of this theory, the storyline that emerges is more dramatic than anything the show ever aired. Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. For Roloff Family latest news update, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. As longtime viewers know, the relationship between Amy Roloff and Caryn Chandler has always been layered with unspoken tension. Even though nothing ever escalated into an actual legal battle, fans could feel the emotional friction brewing beneath the surface. From holiday gatherings where Amy appeared noticeably uncomfortable to farm discussions where roles and boundaries felt blurred, the dynamic never quite settled into a place of ease. And as Matt and Caryn's relationship deepened, those subtle shifts became even harder for Amy and viewers to ignore. Many believe this slow buildup of tension is exactly what fueled the now infamous fan theory, a hypothetical scenario in which Amy might take Caryn to court over clashes connected to Roloff Farms, financial decision-making, or even disagreements about the long-term direction of the Roloff family legacy. Though entirely fictional, the theory speaks to something very real, the frustration and emotional residue fans witnessed over many seasons. It's less about a lawsuit and more about the unresolved wounds that viewers sensed between the two women. The speculation grew even louder as fans combed through interviews, social media posts, and key moments from the show. Whenever Amy hesitated before responding, or when a conversation between her and Caryn turned tense, viewers interpreted those moments as signs of deeper conflict simmering off camera. Entire Reddit threads, YouTube discussions, and fan forums began piecing together these moments like clues in a courtroom thriller. Fair or not, these interpretations turned natural discomfort into the foundation for one of the most dramatic imagined what-if scenarios in LPBW history. And so, the origins of this fan-driven lawsuit theory aren't rooted in legal documents or real-life evidence. They're rooted in emotion. They stem from years of complicated family dynamics, unresolved feelings, and the pressure of having every awkward moment captured on reality TV. In many ways, this theory became a reflection of how deeply invested fans were not just in the Roloff Farms story, but in the personal journeys of the people at the center of it. As fan theories evolved, the imagined lawsuit took on a life of its own, almost becoming a symbolic battleground for everything viewers believed Amy had endured over the years. In this speculative storyline, tensions reach their peak the moment Amy realizes that major decisions about Roloff Farms were being made without her input. Whether it was talk of selling large portions of the land, shifting ownership structures, or the long-term plan for the family legacy, fans created a scenario where Amy finally draws a hard line. In this fan-made narrative, the lawsuit isn't just about money, it's about reclaiming agency. The alleged $6 million figure represents far more than the farm's physical value. Supporters imagined it as a combination of the acreage Amy once shared with Matt, the emotional value of the land tied to decades of memories, and the intangible cost of feeling pushed aside. It became a shorthand for everything Amy lost, even if the real story never involved a courtroom. Over time, the hypothetical case transformed into a vessel for unresolved tension. Fans projected years of family friction onto this imaginary legal battle, from the farm sale that fractured the siblings to the emotional fallout Amy faced as she rebuilt her identity outside her marriage. In this scripted universe, the lawsuit becomes the climax of a long, painful unraveling, an alternate version of events where Amy confronts the forces that seem to diminish her role in the family. For viewers who were deeply invested in the Roloff story, this fictional $6 million showdown offered something real life never delivered: a sense of justice, closure, and the belief that Amy finally stood her ground. In this dramatized retelling, the courtroom becomes the stage where every unspoken tension finally surfaces. Fans imagine Amy stepping forward with a quiet strength, recounting years of feeling minimized during crucial family decisions, especially when it came to Roloff Farms. She speaks not just for herself, but for the history she poured into the land, the marriage, and the family legacy. It's the release of emotions that viewers sensed for years, but never heard articulated so boldly. Across from her, Caryn stands steadfast, defending her intentions and her place in the Roloff world. In this fan-created scenario, Caryn argues that she never tried to take Amy's seat at the table, only to support Matt as their relationship evolved. But the imagined tension is thick. Did she overstep, or was she simply caught in a story that was already unraveling long before she arrived? These conflicting perspectives fuel the fictional drama, giving fans the showdown the show itself never ventured into. What makes this hypothetical trial so compelling is how it blends facts, feelings, and fan interpretation. It becomes a symbolic venting point, a moment where long-simmering resentment is finally voiced in a direct, cathartic way. The courtroom serves as the emotional battleground for unresolved dynamics: the pain of divorce, the complexity of blending families, the struggle to redefine self-worth in the public eye. For many viewers, this theoretical lawsuit isn't really about the so-called $6 million. It's about what that number represents: years of perceived imbalance, the emotional cost of starting over, and the validation Amy's supporters feel she deserved. In this imagined version of events, the courtroom becomes the one place where the scales finally tip toward emotional justice, even if only in the hearts and minds of fans. In the end, the so-called $6 million lawsuit remains exactly what it has always been: a fan-created what-if scenario, woven from real tensions, real emotions, and the long, complicated history surrounding Roloff Farms. It's a reflection of how deeply viewers connected to Amy's journey, how protective they felt of her place in the family legacy, and how strongly every shift in the Roloff dynamic resonated with the audience over the years. Because while no courtroom showdown ever truly happened, the very existence of this theory proves something important. The Roloff story continues to live far beyond the episodes themselves. Fans still debate decisions, still analyze conversations, and still build narratives that express the emotional undercurrents they sensed on-screen. The imagined lawsuit is less about legal drama and more about the passionate investment viewers have carried through nearly 2 decades of Little People, Big World. And whether you side with Amy, Caryn, or simply watch from the sidelines, the fact that this family can still spark this level of imagination, discussion, and speculation shows just how powerful their story remains. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.